Hey Zoe family, it's Orly. How are you? Today we're marking a very sad anniversary for the Zoe family. A year ago, we lost our little James to FIP, and he was our last foster case, our last case altogether. Um, and that day, I was pretty determined that I would take on this beast that is FIP and figure out a way to prevent it. The heartaches are daily for many, many people, including the people in rescue. And I felt that maybe the approach needed to be more on the prevention side rather than post illness and trying to cure that illness, which is very much an uphill battle, as you know. We currently have two universities in the US, UC Davis and I believe UC Kansas, who are developing a protocol for a vaccine. And we're about 2 to 3 years away from that remedy to be distributed to the masses. So until then, I didn't feel like waiting, and I wanted to see how we could prevent the heartaches and tackle it a little bit differently. So as you know, we're big fans of holistic remedies. We have been practicing homeopathy in pretty much all of the cases that we've tackled. And when James became ill, we got to meet a great company in Australia called Hempel, who had developed a protocol, a homeopathic protocol for FIP, which we followed. And James was granted 6 months additional life because of that, and we were grateful. We sadly lost him to complications to FIP, and I didn't want his death to be in vain, so we went back to the good people of Hempel, and I personally met with Diana, the founder, and we brainstormed together as of how we could possibly put a protocol together in terms of prevention. So what does that mean? FIP is approached on so many different levels, and we have to just take what we understand and what we feel is the trigger. So stress is a big one. And what is stress in terms of FIP? It begins with the vaccinations, which really puts the body in shock. And because vaccines are becoming more and more toxic, we really are, putting their poor little bodies in a state of shock. And the second big stressor is the spay-neuter. Like Knox and James, they started to show signs about a month after they were neutered. And then the rest is what we call environmental. So it can be a life change, it can be a move, it can be something sudden. And the reason why I'm highlighting all of these is because I've kept track on a lot of the stories that have been posted on a page called FIP Fighters. So a lot of testimonies about this disease being set off after a vaccine, after a neuter. It targets a population that's very young because it's also very much tied into the immunity. So the first 2 years are pretty much what we're looking at. There's also a narrower window, which is between 5 to 8 months, we'll say. That's the prime time where FIP is developed. Granted, this is something that is really minute in terms of the population. So depending on who you speak to, it's anywhere between 2 to 4% of the population of cats, but it's happening more and more. So how do we, as a rescue or as a pet owner, how do we become more mindful? And that's really the biggest question. How do we become more mindful about how we take care of our animals, and how do we stop stressing them with things that are pretty much automatic? And that's what I decided to take on and have implemented since the spring of 2018. So what does that mean? It means that every adopter that we have is presented with the option to implement a protocol. And also it means that that protocol has been implemented with every single one of our fosters. So we essentially put power back on our side in trying to rescue and take care of them in a healthier, more mindful way. We try to reduce the stressors through remedies that we've compiled into a kit that we offer to all of our adopters as a follow-through, depending on the stage where the cat is adopted. It means different things, but that protocol stands. And we're not a huge rescue, but I think that the pool that we're addressing is big enough to start being of interest. So, as I mentioned, it started in the spring of 2018, so we almost have a year under our belt. We've rescued about 150 cats. We've adopted over 100 in that time frame. So big enough pool again to be noticed. And we are hoping that in the 2 years that we will unofficially conduct this trial, we will have some successes to report. So far, so good. 0 FIP. This is not a guarantee. This is again something that we have decided to take on because we want to be more mindful about how we do things. Everybody gets a little kit like that with explanations and remedies. This is not about profit or anything like that. This is really about putting education on the side of adopters and pet owners, and educating them to do things a little bit differently, which is really what we are about. And we truly hope this will prove to be something of meaning and something that will be spreading and changing lives for the better. So I kind of waited a while to start talking about this in the open, because I wanted to have a little bit more numbers under my belt. I feel very confident about this. The intention is mindfulness. The intention is to raise consciousness about how we actually treat our animals, and the thought that we can just bombard them with all of this so very, very early on and not have an impact on their body is just crazy. Of course it has an impact on their body. So we really need to change a little bit our mindset and start looking at how we do things for them. They are fragile creatures. They are very sensitive creatures. And there's no reason why it wouldn't affect them. Of course it will. So if you have any questions, please reach out. If you want to start implementing this, please reach out. We'll be happy to start sharing our information. This is something that I really feel excited about, positive about, driven. It's the starter point. It will not end there. And I hope that it will bring the results that we're hoping. We feel confident that it will. And if anything, it really is, it has been a game changer for us anyway. So that's James's legacy. To put it in a nutshell, you know, every cat that we take on brings us knowledge. He, in the year that he was with us, brought us tremendous knowledge on so many levels, and this is what he has done for us, and we are so grateful, and we hope that this message will start spreading, and we hope that people will understand that homeopathy is something that can be relied on and has meaning, and it's not this witchcraft. It's something that is actually extremely potent, and we certainly have seen so many of our cases being actually resolved that way. You know, Hempel has been a wonderful partner for us in a lot of our recoveries, and this is no different. So I feel extremely positive about this, and I hope that the message will spread. So here we have it. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.